right, good day, greetings, and welcome to the Peak Wellness Hour. We are so excited to have you here starting out the month of December just right. We're so excited to have this conversation. We have a special guest here with us today, Miss Brianny Alverado. Did I say that correctly? Awesome. She is a addiction specialist and counselor. We're going to dive into this conversation with her. So we want you to stay tuned. We want you to grab a pen and paper because we're going to dive so deep into this. Before we begin, I want to tell you all know that when we do our broadcast here, we tend to put positive images up on our thumbnails. So I didn't want that thumbnail to be discouraging, but I do want you all to understand the severity of what we are talking about today. And that is the reality of addiction. That image you saw was just an image. But when we see people, they're someone's loved one, someone's daughter, son, mother, father, friend, counselor, therapist, doctor. So keep that in mind as we discuss this conversation with sensitivity and respect. Grab that pen and paper, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And we'll All right, so here we are. We are here with you all. So glad that you are here with us. Again, if you're in the virtual building, please say hello in the comment section. We want to know you're here. Make sure you share this with a friend, even if it's on replay. I am not going to spend too much time talking because I had the privilege of just meeting this young lady that is here with us, Miss Brianny, and I know her and Edith are colleagues. So I'm not going to talk too much. I want Queen Edith to bring us in and introduce this young lady. Awesome conversation before we started. So I cannot wait for you all to hear what she has to share in encouragement and empowerment when it comes to addiction. It might not apply to you, but it very well may apply to someone you know. So let's have this conversation. Queen Edith.
Hey, friends and family, it's exciting to come back your way. I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving. All right. And we did remember to give thanks. We did remember to appreciate family and friends and everybody who's been a blessing in our lives. But above all, we did give thanks to God. Well, we gave you a break, and here we are again. It's Saturday morning. This is a serious topic, the reality of addiction. Many of us have suffered addiction in more ways than one. Some of us, we have been addicts in one way or the other. Others are family members. Either way, you're impacted. If nobody told you addiction affects the entire family as a whole. So today, the holidays are coming up. It's a very difficult season for people who live with the challenges of addiction. Because for them, having fun means drinking, snorting, shooting, and however it is, injecting, however it is, they do take in their substance or abuse the substance. It's a difficult season. Even more difficult when they are on the journey of recovery okay, pursuing sobriety to the best of their ability. How do they navigate family gatherings? How does family show sensitivity to their struggles and what they're dealing with right now in this moment? These are some of the situations we're going to talk about. So, grab a pen, grab a paper, share this video, invite a friend. Listen, you may not know anybody. Thank God. You don't have a family member, you don't have a friend, but there's a friend of yours who may very well be going through this with a family member or somebody they love, or even themselves, and they probably are hiding it. Please share this video and let's all get the help, the information we need to be helpful to our loved ones. So tune in, and before we go on, I'm going to ask Queen G, please include my other person for a minute so I can stream. Then we can put her in the back. Thank you so much.
Okay, gotcha. And welcome to Miss Joanna Franklin here, who is actually my cousin, and she is part of um, activism when it comes to addiction. Here in Indianapolis, it's Macro B, fighting addiction. So, grand rising to you, Queen. The link is in the chat for the Cricket Creek Alert Addiction Resource website. So check that out, you all. Queen, I'm putting you in here. You got to mute one of them though.
It's muted, so I don't know
Okay.
why it's talking. So before we go on, this is what I want. I have to introduce this beautiful young lady. She is a mental health and an addiction therapist. Over the last year, I've been working in the same facility as a clinical intern. She's one of the few people who has trained me in the area of addiction, and I've come to love it. Bree is an amazing woman. She's young, but she's knowledgeable. And she's not just knowledgeable, she understands the intricacies of addiction. She's been at this for a long time. I've learned a lot of valuable lessons from her. Her name is Brianny. I call her my Princess Brie. Okay, that's how I call her. So, but she's a queen in her own right. And so, Brie, the
Mhm.
floor is yours.
Thank you so much for inviting me, both of you. I feel very honored to be part of this conversation. I think, you know, I know Edith, you said that you've learned a lot from me. I've learned a lot from you. I think that our styles are different, and I am always wanting to learn even more. So I feel like it's been an honor to work with you. Your entire internship, almost, it seems like.
All
And
of it. All
yeah,
of it. Practicum and the two internships. And it ends on Friday.
yes. And I'm very sad about it. I can't express that enough. But Edith has been through my year of working with ICFR as a therapist, and has seen me actually practice EMDR, which is a trauma focused therapeutic approach that I think is more than beneficial to clients, but also, you know, we can always learn more approaches as therapists. And I think it's always good for us to continue to do our studies and try to freshen up. But I am very honored, and I have been in this. I have been working with a lot of different clients. Early in my career, it was working with clients that had severe mental health, and then I transitioned as I, was finishing up grad school and my internship with the company that I work for now. But I think that this topic is very much needed, and isn't talked amongst a lot of us. And I think with the holiday season, it's a really hard time for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
What do
Absolutely.
you
And that's why we did want to have this conversation around this time. It's the holiday season, it's joyous and it's festive, but there are people that are really going through, and it's not as joyous for them. So it might, again, we don't want to make it seem like it's a downer conversation for the festive holidays, but it is certainly something to be addressed. And addiction, affects millions of people all over. And it's not just drugs and alcohol, it's, sex, pornography,
Mhm.
eating, but we're going to get down to the core of it. And hopefully we're going to find, you're going to here with this conversation. We want to encourage you, if you have questions or comments, please put those in the comment section and let's have a conversation about it. So, yes. Where'd you like to go with this, Queen?
The question is this: what is addiction? And I have something I want to read here. It's from the book Introduction to Addictive Behaviors. Okay, and I'm reading something about the history, the United States history of addiction. It says that addiction to alcohol or other drugs has consistently been viewed as a hybrid medical moral affliction. Okay, it says that this remains true today. Despite 65 years of the American Psychiatric Association's recognition of substance related conditions as mental disorders and the ASAMs, okay, addiction is a primary chronic disease. So, first of all, it's seen as a disease. There's also a genetic factor to it and a moral factor. So it's a hybrid, a disease, a moral factor, a moral situation, and also a genetic situation. Okay, this is what I have written about addiction. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
Right.
sorry. What is addiction? Okay, basically, what is addiction? In the simple man's terms. Okay, for me, it means that doing something like abusing substance, okay, abusing substance so much so that when you decide to walk away from it, your body withdraws. Okay, it's not something you can walk away from. Your body feels that it is missing that substance that you have consistently used over a long period of time. So when I talk about substance in this conversation, though there are other addictions such as porn addiction, gambling addiction, which is becoming a big thing now, the DSM, which is the Mental Health Bible, is actually considering. I think it's a big deal now in DSM, right?
Mhm.
It's categorized in the DSM. So gambling, I said porn. So porn and sex are related. Shopping
Mm.
addiction. In this particular instance, we want to focus on drugs and alcohol. Okay, there's so many different levels of the kinds of drugs. Okay, and alcohol, we know there's a variety of alcohols. You've taken these things so much so that the day you say, oh, today, you can't just say, today, I'm not going to take it and be okay. That is when it has become an addiction. That's when, in fact, you must seek help before it gets there. But at this point, you are beyond, you need to get help. And there is help out there. Okay. But today we want to focus on the holiday season. It's coming up. How do families, friends, loved ones, and the recovering addicts navigate this holiday season? Because it is a huge trigger. I'll leave the floor to the ladies.
I think I want to bring up something that I think of the holidays is boundaries. And I always ask my clients, like, what are your boundaries? Because sometimes they seem a little bit fainted, the lines that we draw with our family, with our significant others, friends. It's almost blurry to the point where we don't know, or we like to tell ourselves what we think is good in those relationships, but then we don't stop and think that maybe it could be a trigger for me to continue to have those relationships that only lead me back to using. And I'm heavy on boundaries and teaching it. And I just think that it doesn't get discussed as much. It's a topic that a lot of people tell us, oh, because they're your loved ones, because they're your friends for X amount of time, you should continue to have that friendship. I mean, how many times have we had to let go of some friends because of things that they did to us?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, we shouldn't stay in those relationships just because of the blood that we're connected by, the long history of years that we've known the people
Mm-hmm.
that are our friends. Because a lot of the time, like, we don't stop and think, I keep going back to using because probably I go back to the same people that are probably the root of my trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Probably people that I used with. Or they have things around, especially in the holiday time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it's hard. To not go to family gatherings, and because we might feel lonely, but also because we think of, are we disappointing our family members if we don't go?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it's so hard to maintain the boundaries even after you do a program of addiction, because Edith did point out, like, at one point you're going to realize, like, I can't do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And alcohol is like the number one that if you withdraw or if you're using a certain amount, you can die.
Mhm.
That's the only substance that you can actually die if you try to withdraw on your own.
And before you go in, I'd like to add that, and it is legalized.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a factor. It is legalized,
Mm-hmm.
okay, everywhere in the world.
And it's in every commercial. It's everywhere. In advertisement,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's going to be there for the holidays for some people.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those are gateway things to using other substances.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, it starts out like that. Or it starts out with smoking. Some family members smoke together or have, cannabis around. So, and that leads them to wanting to drink or other kind of substances, but it's really hard to set the boundaries with some people. And I think that something that we try to do in treatment is talking about your triggers. Some people, oh, you wanted to?
I was gonna say, can you dive into just briefly triggers, because a lot of us, people are always triggered. You're triggered in traffic, you're triggered at work. Can we talk about triggers as it relates to addiction, so that people, especially those that have loved ones and family members and friends that are dealing with that don't understand those triggers, what does that look like for addiction and different types of triggers and how they work with the chemical and the mental and all that? And yeah.
Edith, both you and I can add to
Yeah,
things.
yeah. I would.
Well, you want to give a background of? I can tell you what we go through when we try to evaluate triggers. So I try to prepare my clients for maybe early warning signs. And early warning signs, I always say, what is your body telling you? Sometimes we don't pay attention to the reaction in our body. Our heart is racing. Maybe our hands are getting really sweaty. Maybe we're noticing a change in our face. Like, sometimes it gets hot or clammy. Some people, their stomach turns. So those could be little warning signs, or it can also be intrusive thoughts or thoughts in general that are telling me, maybe just wondering, or if I just smoke a little bit today, just today. So it's some thoughts that are telling us maybe we're falling out of our recovery and we need to reevaluate why we want to stay in long-term sobriety.
Mhm.
So paying attention to the little cues, our body, our thoughts, and then what we do after we have those intrusive thoughts is going to be very important. I always mention, okay, when you have these warning signs of what your body is telling you, what are you going to do?
Mhm.
We always like to tell everyone, use your coping skills.
Before you get to the coping skills, you see, our triggers are as uniquely as we are, as unique as we are as people. There are some common things that could be triggering for many people.
Mhm.
It's common things. But the truth is this is where being mindful. See, we are living in a life where a lot of us are on autopilot. We things have become so routine that we don't even know that we just walked past something, spectacular. Okay.
Mhm.
And one of the biggest things in treating addiction is knowing yourself, knowing your body, how your body responds to situations. Because our body has a unique way of talking back to us. Okay, it has a way of speaking to us. So before you even realize what some people have been in addiction for years and they really don't know what their true triggers are.
Mhm.
They don't understand what craving is. They think that craving is just feeling like I want to drink alcohol. Sometimes craving is very subtle. Craving is I'm uncomfortable in this room. Craving is craving is I'm jittery. I'm itchy. You these signs come and you don't even know it's a craving. Little by little, consistently, ultimately, it's going to lead you to that bottle. And before we get into that, what is one of the factors of addiction is to numb. There is a feeling, there is a pain, there is a situation, there's something that we don't, a thought that we don't want to think about, we don't want to process. It keeps coming at us so strongly. And so, in order to avoid it, we drink it or we snort or whatever it is we do, okay? We take that. And when we take that, you know what? It calms us. We don't have to think about it. You are half awake, half dead, or half awake, half asleep. Life feels good. Okay? And triggers are not always bad. You are at a party, you are having fun. Right? We are having fun. And for you, your body associates fun, company. That's why the holiday season is a big deal. Having company, hanging out, as it's a trigger to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before even we get to know our triggers and we delve deeper into our triggers, you need to be mindful of your body's language to you. What is your body telling you?
Mm-hmm.
You have to know it. You have to take the time to get to know yourself. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Because because a lot of the time, I always like to think the the rushing heart rate or
Mm.
the thoughts, they're there for a reason.
Mhm.
They have a reason why I'm feeling anxious. And I have tried to work with people on viewing anxiety a little bit different, not as the enemy. It's not the enemy. It's to help us, because a lot of the time it's trying to tell us something. It's trying to tell you, hey, listen to your body. I'm trying to tell you something. And that is, you should probably have these conversations internally, journal about why is it hard when I talk about X, Y, and Z? Why? Because we do group settings. A lot of people get anxious when they're in a group. or bringing up the past. And like she said, there triggers can mean of the past. They can be flashbacks. They could be identifying our people, places, and things. Those could be triggers. We when we use and we remember, oh, I remember drinking from this bottle. Now every time I look at this bottle, it's a trigger for me. I've had clients that have mentioned, okay, if I eat these type of chips and I see them again, I'm going to associate it to when I was using fentanyl. So triggers are just there's just so many for different people. You cannot tell someone like these are your triggers. But a lot of the time it's we're filling a void. And I have a poem. It's really quick.
Go ahead.
It says, I was never addicted to one thing. I was addicted to filling a void within myself, with things other than my own love. And I think that was so powerful.
That's deep.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the void with alcohol, with substances, because of the pain that I'm going through. That I don't want to talk about. A lot of us are not comfortable to talk about. Why am I in pain? Because there's something deeper within. The root cause of leading us to use. And sometimes it's not one thing. It's risk factors that have connected, and now it's a chain of that have built up to be getting us into depression. And then we are using. Because that's the only way we feel like ourselves. So we tell ourselves, right?
Yeah.
You were touching on coping mechanism before I interrupted you.
So I always, and why I was touching on coping mechanism is because I always tell them, know your triggers, understand them, understand your body and how it's reacting. Because if we know that, then we know how can we use coping skills. And I always look at situations. I'm big on CBT. So I always look at the situation. How can we manage the situation? And so we brainstorm coping skills. Breathing, we do box breathing. Because I do EMDR, I do like butterfly tapping or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, things you see, hear, and touch, taste. And then there's just so many breathing exercises that it would take a lot to list, but I think we take breathing for granted sometimes. Because when we're struggling with anxiety or we're hyperventilating sometimes with anxiety or panic attacks, that it's not circulating. So then we're not getting the oxygen flow throughout our body. So then we stay here. And that's why some people, because of the energy flow, have to go to the hospital, right? But there are different breathings. I always like to do the box breathing for people that are starting to work on breathing work, which is you hold it in, you inhale through your nose, and then you hold it for 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 4, and then you hold it for 4. But it works differently for everyone. So I always say, okay, let's look at the coping skills. Coping skills are tools that you can use when you're starting to notice the warning signs. You're starting to notice within your body that something's not right. I'm not feeling like myself right now. So then I'm like, when you pay attention to the little cues that we work on, use your skills early. Because there's no bad in using them early, right? I was like, when you're struggling, sometimes you get ahead of yourself when you're like, okay, I've already made up my mind. And Edith, I know we hear this a lot, where a lot of people are set on, I don't want to be here, or I just need one drink and I'll be fine.
And yeah, we've dealt with grown people crying just because they want weed. Like they have to get out of there and get that weed. Like crying tears. It's we underestimate the power, the strength of addiction. That
Mhm.
is why one of the things, the therapies we do is the ACT therapy, acceptance and commitment. You see, and we have to accept that we can't control this. We really can't, because once again, when you talk about neurotherapy or neuroplasticity, your body has adjusted itself to living with the substance. Okay, your whole body system has adjusted. It's become part of it's ingrained inside it. It's become its DNA, so to speak.
Mhm.
Okay, and so it's not something you can just tear away in one day or in 5 days, or it becomes a long term journey. Okay, and that's why it is difficult. It is hard. It is really hard. If you don't have empathy and you see it only as a moral thing, you will probably be judgmental. But you need a lot of empathy working with these people, and patience, and figure out how to talk to them. What are some of the things that is coping for them, is helpful to them, okay, in order for them to go through it, because it's difficult. It's really hard. Okay, and I want us to move to the holiday season. I think we've talked about 30 minutes, the holiday season and the family.
Mhm.
You have a brother, a father, a sister, a mother, some close family member who just, like today, tomorrow, this week, or a few days to the holidays, is coming out of treatment. They've at least achieved 30 to 90 days, so to speak, of sobriety within a structured environment. Okay, they used to having family get togethers. What do you do? What do you tell them? It's a family get together. You can't say because of one person we're hiding all the alcohol. Okay, how do we navigate this to show some concern for our brother or our sister who is currently in recovery, but not at a point where it is easy for them to say no? How do we navigate that during this holiday season?
I think a lot of the time, people that go into the holiday season and go to the gatherings, they sometimes they feel defeated, in a way, because they know that they can't change people.
Hmm.
They can't change the fact that maybe their family is going to be drinking, and I can't do anything about that.
Mm,
I mean, if that's something that they've normalized in the gatherings, then that is what's to be expected. But I would feel defeated if I go in there and I see other people drinking early in my recovery, even if it's 90 days is still early, right?
very.
And I'm just getting out of a structured environment
Mm,
with family members that maybe are triggers and that probably don't respect me, and that I feel uncomfortable having difficult conversations and telling them I can't have a drink. Maybe I haven't even told them that I'm going to treatment, or that I've been going to meetings, or etc. So sometimes it's difficult to have those conversations, and then the lack of empathy that they might show because of what it might bring. Like, now that they know, or if they don't, if I tell them, that I'm in recovery, then they view me as a certain type of the stigma that comes with it. But sometimes people that don't understand addiction, they offer you drinks. And I've had a lot of people who say they offer me and I feel bad because I'm telling them no, I don't want anything. And they ask you and they keep asking you. And I think sometimes we're not considerate as family members, is that they said no the first time. Why do I need to keep offering?
Mm-hmm.
They're setting their boundaries, and I should allow that.
Mm-hmm.
If they already said no, okay, move on. But some people keep saying no, just one, because we don't understand addiction.
Mm-hmm.
That one is gonna lead to more that night, and then the following day, so on and so forth, and then you're taking them back to where they first started.
Mm-hmm.
And it's part of it is that we should be aware that maybe I shouldn't go to the family gatherings, and I should take that time for me to, be with my in what is it, not extended, but nuclear family.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes even the nuclear family can be that way too, but they don't fully understand to respect my boundaries. So that's why they keep pushing it sometimes. They push you to the point where, well, you have to go to the gathering because we've always done that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you feel kind of left out. Everyone else is drinking. I'm the only one not drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes people smoke around, cannabis. Everyone does that. Then if I smoke or if it's offered and I didn't even think about it being a gateway to other things, that's where it might start. The addiction back to leading me where I didn't want to be. And in some states, cannabis isn't legal, and there's so many studies on why it is still harmful. But the other thing is we don't realize that might lead me to going back to using other things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we struggle with boundaries early in recovery, and we are scared to have those conversations with our loved ones, that I can't go to the gathering, or that I don't feel comfortable having alcohol there. And it falls on me to take that step and not go, but also I think it's a respect thing. And I know we've discussed that before. Sometimes we have to give one another respect. If you know that I'm in recovery, or if someone has told you, or if I'm telling you, maybe there could be mutual respect on, how about we don't have it here? How about we don't let that be the focal point of the gathering?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at another point, if you want me to come.
And you talked about starting new traditions in those instances off camera, and that is important. Like you said, we're so used to this is where we go every Christmas Eve, it's okay to start new things. It's okay to starting new things. It's part of starting over. It's part of that healing process. And I think it can be scary and I'm even lonely, but I think that's part of that self-love and that self-healing and that accountability.
100%. I think we fall so back on like going back to the things that we feel comfortable with. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to stay uncomfortable. It's asking yourself, how much do I really want to be in long-term recovery? Mm-hmm. What am I willing to do? What am I willing to sacrifice? Because you sacrifice a lot of things. You sacrifice sometimes not talking to your family because they don't respect your boundaries. You sacrifice not going to these events where they're at, and maybe you don't see your nieces and nephews or grandparents because they don't want you to be there anymore because you set the boundaries and they don't respect them, or they got mad that you set a boundary because they don't understand them. So it's okay to start these new traditions with with other loved ones, other people that also understand recovery. And because a lot of times when we feel lonely and not having the friends that we used to be with or the family members that we used to be around. But I think that also connects to our triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Are we willing to step in that scary, like, I guess,
Lonely place.
for sure,
Mm-hmm.
because it's lonely and I don't know anyone yet, or I haven't made enough friends to the point where like I feel comfortable. And now all of my family members don't want me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's challenging to navigate, especially for people that like lost their kids, lost their husbands and wives, and it's just them. No one else wants to be around them. And I know those are the consequences to what led us there, to our addiction. But sometimes we don't understand that in sicknesses and health, you made a vow too. And I know that doesn't mean like you have to stick through the abuse, but sometimes I see partners leaving their partners because they don't understand the addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first time they go to treatment, that's it. It's over because of the lying. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but that's what addiction is. That's the relationship we have with it. It's a toxic relationship for sure. But I think if people can go to these meetings for loved ones like Al Anon, they can try to understand them and put themselves in that situation because there's so much that connects with addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Not just something that we want to have. Why would somebody want to have an addiction?
Mm-hmm.
It's the circumstances, it's the genetic factor that led us to struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Traumas. And I always like to think like we don't want to have this problem. There's just a lot of different circumstances that have arise that led us to it. But I think we talked about this earlier. Like when you start in your early recovery, you can make those new friendships. You can make those new traditions. And sometimes the hard thing about it is walking away from those we love because they don't respect us.
Mm-hmm.
And there are part of our people, places, and things that we need to get away from,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the holiday time. I always like to say, well, is it something that is going to affect you? Being around your loved ones? Can you have a trusted companion? And Edith and I have talked about this with people. Perhaps you want to go to these family gatherings and you know that there's going to be alcohol or other substances. Then how about you take a trusted companion that in the moment you feel that your body's telling you, I need to use, or I don't feel comfortable being here, you can take someone that you truly trust that will hold you accountable and tell you, how about we leave? Because if you don't have someone, then you might use.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just everything that you have worked so hard for is going to be having to have a restart.
Mm-hmm.
Can you ladies, don't you all love this information? Make sure you all hit that like button. And Brianny's information is in the description link. So you all check her out on Facebook. Very, very intellectual young lady. I want to ask you ladies about, I know you all do group counseling and therapy and whatnot for addiction. Could you talk to the audience about being in that place where you have to make that decision, whether you go to inpatient, outpatient treatment versus in AA meetings? And I'm asking because a lot of people, I believe, have an issue with going into treatment, checking into treatment, and having what they feel those freedoms and liberties and whatnot taken away from them, that control taken away, on top of issues with payment sources and financial issues. So what does it look like if someone's looking at treatment, um, but can't afford or is not ready for it, and then you have the NA and AA meetings. How do you think they compare as far as healing and growth and recovery? And before you answer, I'll say this: whatever works for you all. If that's what works for you, and you're dealing with something, I'm not knocking it. We're not knocking it. I just want everybody to get understanding and have options and feel free to heal. So,
Brie, do you want me to go?
You can, if yeah, if you want to share. I'll tag along.
Before I let the expert go, this is my experience.
mhm,
We have we have different levels of treatment. Okay, there's that top tier, which is hospitalization, like you are you got into trouble, or you got so drunk, or something happened and you're taken to the hospital. Okay, right? And then there's the psych ward unit where you really, really, really need some medical help. Okay. And then we are at the third level. Okay. The third level is detox, where you need time to detox the alcohol out of your system, or whatever, whether it's the cocaine and all those things. You need time to get it out of your system. And then we do have the residential. Residential is you're living in it's quite restricted. Restricted is rigid a little bit. We try to, as much as possible, shut out the outside world so you can focus on your wellness. Okay. And then you go to the next level. From There are a few different levels for some people who are maybe slow learners and have maybe developmental challenges. They go to different other different levels. However, if you are a regular person like you and I, mentally, and after residential, we have what we call the partial hospitalization, where it's also, a lot of them are residential or PHP with housing. It's a little freer. You have a little more leeway. However, it's almost like you go, like a halfway house kind of thing. You go, you test the waters, you probably go around the places, you know, and you know how you feel, and you come back to safety. Okay, for maybe a number of weeks, months, I do not know. And then they have the outpatient. There's the intensive outpatients, where you're in group therapy for about 3 to 4 hours a day, 3 days a week kind of thing. And then it's another level. And then you go to the outpatients, where you are in group therapy. And with all these therapies are mental health therapy and all those things individually going on as well for you. And also even medical care as well. Okay. And medication, medication management, all of those things are in all of this. And then after you've been through all of it, okay, then you step down to the IOP, which is an hour for 3 days a week kind of group thing. And then you slowly, so what am I saying? The process, and you slowly wean yourself. You go from the high all the way down, and you win yourself. In every situation, there's the maintenance level. So for me, the AA and all those things are maintenance level.
Mhm.
They help you, okay, but it's maintenance level. A lot of addiction situations are strongly connected to mental health. What these places do is to begin to work on your mental health. Begin and dig deep to what is the root cause.
Mhm.
Why do I need to start destroy my life like that? What is it that is pushing me? And sometimes the person themselves do not know. But together, we explore and we find it and we help you. Once we get to what we believe and what you agree could be the issue, we work there. We stay there and we work there. Okay. And once that begins to feel better, sometimes it's the things you tell yourself, right? And you ask yourself, why do I say these things to myself? Where am I getting it from? Okay, we work there. So not everybody has what it takes to go through these. Some people have work. So if they're able to afford even the residential, they may not be able to afford not working and being in another. So guess what? They step down drastically to a much lower level where their work it can accommodate both work and getting well. Okay, all of those situations. But if you have what it takes, if your insurance can cover it, then we say take advantage of it because there's a science. There's a science behind it and it works. Alebrigo.
And touching on the affordability, sometimes people can't afford it. I will say there are more facilities that are offering, um, you know, Medicaid and Medicare. I always struggle to know the difference, but they are offering opportunities for people that have that type of care, not just private insurance, to get help. Okay, so and sometimes people have to do private pay because their insurance doesn't um, like cover it enough, or they won't meet their deductible, and then they have to pay a certain amount. I can't say how much, but there's been times where people can also do payment planning. So you have to ask yourself, how badly do I want it? And am I willing to research places that take my type of insurance? Um, or could I put myself on payment plans?
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things, obviously the billing department at any facility is able to help you with how can I pay for their treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you ask, you might know a little bit more things or financing opportunities. Sometimes there's scholarships too. This is not talked about a lot, but and I don't know if they have too much information on getting scholarships for treatment outline like online, and I might try to find information on that so that I can give you guys that. But there are scholarships where they give to clients that need help and don't have the financial needs to get it the type of help that is best for them. Because when you are looking for the highest level of care, it's going to be more expensive than as you're going to PHP, IOP, or outpatient. Why? Because, like Edith described, if you're at the hospital, you're going to be paying more. And then if you're in a detox level of care, which is the next step, you're also getting like 24-hour care and medication management. Residential is a little bit less because you're not meeting um, people every 24 hours, like medically. You're still getting checked on, but it's a little bit more of medication management, and you see the provider once a week. And in these level of cares, you will still see a therapist and a case manager or social worker once a week, but we are heavy on groups. Why? Because they're effective. They're scientifically proven to help clients on working with their addiction, not only because do they learn from each other, but they also learn a lot of information in those groups that they wouldn't have that
Mm-hmm.
if they were going anywhere else. And I think it's very helpful just to say that maintenance wise, once you at a place where you know you feel a little bit more comfortable on your own, is that IOP or meetings. And I know we said NA and NA. I also like to encourage clients to do smart recovery.
Mm-hmm.
It's capital SMART and then recovery, online and in person. The other thing, the other thing and reason why I like this type of meeting is because you work on a handbook that is focused on therapeutic approaches. So their goal is to work on exposure therapy through the meetings. So this is where it comes with the trusted companion. If you want to go to the grocery store, sometimes you might have to take a trusted companion. So that's their way of doing small exposure therapy with people in those groups that you go to.
Okay.
There's also like celebrate recovery, recovery dharma, which is more like a Buddhist um, meetings. I've actually been to them before too.
And
Um,
celebrate recovery is for, it's usually churches, right? It's
it's
church based.
right, and all of these things like you can find, get an app, or just Google them. I'm really like they have apps for everything at this point. But there's like a meeting finder where you can find meetings anywhere, but they're more of the maintenance aspect. And I think that when you're going into outpatient, it's very important to realize maybe I need to go to therapy once a week for X amount of months. And then I can start more into the maintenance side, or maybe I only need to go to therapy every 2 weeks or every month. And as I get more comfortable, because maybe I'm already at a place where I am able to work through my triggers, or I've talked about my trauma, so on and so forth. But a lot of people are discouraged to go to these treatment facilities because of the structure. We don't, a lot of places, and I'll say a lot of places because not all places take away phones, but the majority of inpatient facilities, they take away their phones. Meaning we want to make sure that the outside world is not a focus of ours as we're getting help and getting healthy. And we try to focus on going to our meetings, doing individual sessions, and getting taking things care of with our case manager, so that it's not doesn't feel like it's always on the person. Um, but we also try to do that for their aftercare planning of where they decide to go to next. Um, but I think that if not having access to being on your phone, you have to ask yourself like, how much am I willing to sacrifice to get better?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a month, maybe it's 2 months. Well, that doesn't mean that you can't have special accommodations. There's so many times where people get special accommodations where they have, they FaceTime their loved ones or call them every day while they're in treatment. These things can get accommodated if you ask for it early on. Um, but you also have to realize sometimes I need to step away from that and put myself first. And I
Mm-hmm.
know as what when parents come in, when their kids are very young, like sometimes they can't let go of that, and they want to be checking in on how they're doing, or they feel stressed because of the caregiver that's with their kids now. They don't know if they're okay. So it can be very challenging, but I think that, in order for our kids to get the best version of ourselves, we have to make sure we can do everything possible to have them have the better version of me. So maybe it is working through 30 days or 60 days of getting the help I need and limiting how much I talk to them.
I love it. Oh my God.
And we do check in with families. Every week, the therapist calls the family and gives them updates, and they get to talk. They have phone call days, a number of days a week, a number of minutes a day during the days, and they get to talk to them. But it's not like you are constantly on your phone, which is so.
Mm-hmm.
It's not you're totally neglected. You don't see it's not a prison.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely not a prison.
Yeah. And here's the thing, a lot of people don't realize is that the doors are unlocked on our end. Like if you wanted to get out of the door, I mean inside, once you're inside, you can always get out. When
You
you're
just
out,
can't come in because for protection purposes. Yes, but The doors are
People
unlocked.
can always leave if they want to, but now, like, the circumstances that they want to leave is not always for their, it's not in their best intent to do so. Like, sometimes they're still taking medications that need to be tapered off. And so it's not medically recommended, or sometimes it's like outside factors. So that's why we try to limit the amount of use on their phone or calls sometimes they get, because we try to make excuses, and we know ourselves more than another person, is that we might make excuses of why we don't want to be getting help. We're creative people, and we know excuses like the back of our hand that we're going to try to get ourselves out of it. But I think that there's freedom in a way, because you can always make sure to talk to someone if you want to not be in group that day and something's triggering you. You have the freedom to advocate for yourself. But the groups that we do, I think it's to help them start thinking and turn the wheels so that they can process it in individual therapy, because a lot of it is things that they've never talked about. And so we try to plant seeds for the next step in their life.
I love it. I love it. I wanted to add too, for those that we talked about family and gatherings, and when we are aware of loved ones that are dealing with addiction, it is tricky to address it. I want to encourage you all to look into getting naloxone or Narcan. That's what it looks like. I'm going to show you. I don't know. It's in a box. Let me see. I'm going to open it.
The
This,
light is reflecting.
it
So.
is. This came from, I was from the VA hospital. The VA hospital is the only physician group that I've seen where physicians are prescribing naloxone to people that are coming out of like surgery situations, you're on Vicodin or whatever narcotic, and it's a lifesaver. I know my cousin Joanna Franklin, who is the chairperson of Crooked Creek Alert of Indianapolis here. She handed them out. And at first, I thought to myself, I can't be driving around with all this naloxone in my car. Somebody might think I have a problem. Let me see if I can make it a little better. God forbid I get pulled over and I've got all this naloxone in my car. But it's really small. I don't know if you can see. It's really small. It's a nasal spray, and it's a lifesaver. You see somebody, doing nursing, I've talked about this before, on the streets, driving around, you'll be surprised in the daytime how many people you see on the side of on the sidewalk, passed out. You don't know if they're alive or dead. And what we don't want to do is judge. We don't want to say, well, this, and I don't want to be derogatory, but this is what happens. These, this head, this meth head, crack head, pot head, we have to stop using the stigma. It's always funny and a joke, on stand up, but it's reality. And no one wants to say, hey, I have an addiction, I have a problem, I have a disease, and be looked at as a crackhead or a pothead or, so have some respect with that. If you go, again, I put it in the comment section. If you go to the Crooked Creek Alert website, there are resources on there for addiction, information and all kinds of stuff like that. Resources to get naloxone. I think it would be a great thing to have. Again, just driving around seeing certain people, there's certain areas where it's like, this should not be the normal behavior. That there should be no reason why I'm pulling up to the CVS or this gas station and someone's passed out, intoxicated, or inebriated in broad daylight. What happens if we had CVSs and different establishments that had access to saving lives? All because you have an addiction or a habit or a stronghold does not make you a bad person. It just means that there were bad decisions and choices made. And there is room for recovery, healing. There's room for growth. And there's room for forgiveness. And it starts with forgiving yourself. If nobody else wants to forgive you, it starts with forgiving yourself. But we have to give people a chance to do that. Okay, you have to give people a chance. So, yes.
Oh, I don't know if it's showing up.
I popped it up. I'm always popping up people's comments. That's reality. So yes.
We
You all
miss
make sure you go
you
to her
too.
Facebook page and show her some love.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, we're almost out of time. I'm going to let you all conclude this. I do want to let you all know, though, I posted and I lost it. I posted a video from Gaia, and it's entitled Living Through Addiction and Recovery with Chris Grosso. And so it's talking about dealing with the struggles, healing from that, his own experience. So, I love Gaia. You can find it on the Facebook page. I did not put it on YouTube yet, but I'll put it on the YouTube post where you can find that. Go check that out. It's free for 3 days, so you can watch it for free up until Tuesday. It's about 54 minutes long and a powerful information about healing from that. So make sure you all check that out and take advantage of that. So, ladies, I will let you take us out. Brianny, if you want to say anything else, if you want to add any input, take your time. And Queen, I'll let you take us out.
Yes, ma'am. Do your
Oh,
final words.
my final words. I think you spoke very well on giving each other empathy during this time, understanding one another, and respect, not to forgive, that we should show respect towards one another, and just a lot of love and kindness. I think that we forget to give that. And hopefully we can try to learn more about how we are as people, and knowing that we don't people don't want to be suffering like this. It's something that, you know, is very much, I'm doing this because I'm struggling. Because I don't feel like I have any other resort to getting better. So I think if we try to remember that, then hopefully it can help us be more empathetic people.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you guys for allowing me to say a few words, and I'm I can't wait to see how this changes, the community.
Absolutely. Thank you for what you do in the community. Thank you for being so open and sharing the information. It's been you're such a lovely soul. So
Thank
it's been great to just interact with you. I hope you all enjoyed her. Certainly.
you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Queen.
Bree, this is not the last time. This is just beginning of many that we can do together, because mental health is huge. It's
Mhm.
huge, and we tend to neglect it. I always say that we go get our physicals every year, but never do we work on the part of us that literally drives every decision and every behavior. Bree has talked a lot about triggers, coping skill. We didn't go into detail, obviously, we can't. Coping skills, setting boundaries, okay, and even the holiday season, the difficulty it is. One thing I've come to learn working at this addiction place that I've been doing my intern, and I've been there literally almost a year, because I was there 3 months last year, and I've been there since March or April this year to the end. So I've been there all my school internships and practicum. I've done it in addiction. So I'm so grateful that I got that opportunity, and for all the people who made that possible, I say thank you to all of them. But what I've learned is that they form a community. They develop a community, okay? They get in touch with each other. They build a sisterhood and a brotherhood and a familyhood, if there are any words like that. And you know what? If you can go to the regular family gatherings talking about triggers, why don't you invite a few friends to your home and say no alcohol?
Mhm.
That's a good thing to do. People who will respect your boundaries,
Mhm.
okay, and say no alcohol. Come, let's play a game. Let's watch a movie together. Let's watch a show. There's so many videos on people who have struggled with addiction. It could be a beginning if you don't have the community you made, because they come from all across the country. Find a community within your community that will respect your boundaries and you can spend time with. There is always a way where there is a will. And I'll say this, thinking I'm lonely, I don't want to offend anybody. The question I want to ask you, who is struggling and who is going through recoveries, what are your core values? What are your values? What are your principles? What are things that matter to you so much that you are not willing to sacrifice? And so many times, that is where our thoughts needs to go. It's not about offending people. It's not about hurting people. It's about ensuring that you are firm enough in your walk so you can stay strong to support the others who need. Addiction is not a joke. It's not something to make fun of. It's also not, let me say this again, it's also not something that is humiliating or shameful to the family that we will hide. Let's be open about it. Let's talk about it. So many people have families who are dealing with situations, and you're going through a lot. Let's talk about it, okay? There is nothing to be ashamed of. So let's remove the shame. The shame that we are hiding is what is encouraging the habits or the behavior. I promise you, let's talk about it. Let's confront it squarely. Let's help our loved ones. But more importantly, let's hug them, love them, let them know we care. Because we really do. At the core, we do. Talk about addiction, deal with it. And if you have any questions, you can reach Brianny on her Facebook. She's streaming live on there. I'm not streaming live. You can reach out to me. I finish school next week, Friday, and then I'll be a therapist. I am so excited for this journey, Bri. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Friends and family, as you prepare for the holidays, know that your friends and family who don't want alcohol, who can't have it around them, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Thank you so much for joining us. Until we come your way next time. If you have a loved one who needs senior care, this was brought to you by Peak Home Care Associates. Peak Home Care Associates, located in Noblesville, serving the general Indianapolis area. We have room for new and more clients. Reach out to us on the in the through the information on your screen, through the website, email, or also on the phone number. We'll be glad to help you, whether it's respite care, whether it's hourly care, whatever care it is, whether it's even sitting with your hospice family ones. We will be there to support. We love you, appreciate you. Have an amazing time.
Thank you again for joining us. Thank you. Special thanks to you, Brianny. Hope to do this again with you real soon. You all tune in next time. Until then, peace, love, and blessings.